You guys really pulled through for me. Hey guys, welcome back to Joy on a Bike. I am on the TU250X today, and I'm very happy to be filming this because it is the 1,000 subscriber celebration video. I don't know. It is, I'm going to basically be answering your questions that you guys asked in my last video. I said to go ahead and give me your questions because I wanted to film a 1,000 subscriber Ask Me Anything video, and that is what I'm filming today. And I have my husband with me. He's back there, and he is on the Royal Enfield, the Continental GT 650. I'm taking a bit of a different route today because, well, it's a special day, and I normally ride the same roads. I don't really go into town that often on the bike, and so I kind of wanted to give you a bit of a different look at kind of the area where I live. Change it up for you guys. Oh my gosh. I don't like driving in traffic. Fun facts. All right, so I basically have the questions taped to the tank. I hope I can read and remember them for you. But the first question comes from Christopher, and he's the owner of a TU250X. He's wondering if he was. All right, so I'll go ahead and kick it off with a question from Christopher. He's the owner of a TU250X, and his question is kind of, you know, does he keep a TU or does he upgrade to a Royal Enfield 650 Interceptor? As you might know, we have a Royal Enfield Continental GT 650, so it's not the exact same bike, but they're pretty similar. It has the same engine, the same frame, but the riding position is a little bit different. So I haven't actually been on an Interceptor, but I'll let you know what I think as far as my experience with the Continental. If I were to choose, if I had to choose between keeping the TU or selling it to get something else, if there wasn't an option to have both, then my answer would be to go for the Interceptor. The TU is a great bike. I do really enjoy it, and it's true that it can do high speeds. You know, it can go 70, 80 miles an hour, but that's not always going to be the case. And a good example of that is actually when I started this ride today. It was a little bit of a windy day, and I was driving up a slight hill, and I was going not even 60 miles an hour, and it was like full throttle. So when the conditions are not exactly right, or maybe you're not driving on a straight road, it could be a little bit of a challenge to get up to the speed that you might need to be. But the other thing about it, the big reason why I would opt for the Interceptor is because it just takes a long time for the TU to actually get up to speed. It's not a powerful bike. You know, when you're in traffic and you're having to maybe use a bit of power to get around someone so that, say, you're not in their blind spot, you know, it just kind of, it's just having something with a little bit more pep and power makes riding a motorcycle not only more enjoyable sometimes, but a little bit easier. Another thing is that if you have a TU, there's a good chance that you like the styling of the TU. So it's very much a classic bike. It's kind of basic, but it has that feel, and so does the Interceptor. You know, you're not really going to lose any of that. And with the Interceptor, I'm assuming, because we've done this with the Continental, is that you're going to be able to personalize it. So if you do want to turn it a little bit, I don't know, if you want to make it sort of a cafe look, I'm sure that you can do that with the Interceptor, just as you'd be able to with the TU. My opinion is that it would be a good bike to upgrade to from the TU. Next question comes from Irvin. He asks, where does Joy live? And I live outside of Austin, Texas. I have lived here my entire life. I was actually born in Austin. The road that we're on right now is Congress, actually, and we took it from South Austin. But basically, if you take it all the way to where it dead ends, it'll dead end at the state capitol. Congress is a lively street. There's a lot of cool shops and restaurants along Congress. Revival has their storefront on Congress as well. Okay, next question. KZ650 I think that's what it is, asked, how's the air scoop on the Buell Lightning? So I installed an air scoop on the Buell Lightning to kind of help cool down the engine, and I never really gave an update as far as how that's performing and what I think of it. And the truth is that I always forget to pay attention. So in the warmer months, I would basically really try to pay attention every time I went on a ride to see when and if it turned on. And I always just forgot. I know that it always would kick on whenever it was closer to the end of my ride. But I'm thinking that the reason that maybe I just haven't noticed it is because it's not turning on quite as much. So I want to say that it is doing its job. But I can't say 100% for sure, like, that I've been paying as close of attention to it as I would have wanted to. So this is Austin, Texas. You can see some city. I guess this is really the first view that you guys have seen in the city. I've not taken you here yet. There is Revival. They always have some motorcycles out front showing those off. We're actually gonna hop off and get some pizza. So I'm gonna get some pizza and then finish asking or answering your questions afterwards. Alright, so the next question comes from Ken. He and his wife are in their late 50s and they've talked about getting some beginner bikes. He, I think, rode dirt bikes about 40 years ago, and she's never been on a bike. So his son does motocross and was saying that he thinks it'd be best for them to start on dirt bikes versus street bikes. And I think the thought process behind that was that it's because it's safer. And so Ken was asking, he's wondering what my thoughts are on that, and then how did I learn to ride? So I'll start with how I learned to ride, and how I learned to ride was on street bikes, I guess you could say. But my first bike that I took the MSF course on a Honda Rebel, and then my first bike was a scooter. It was a 125cc Genuine Buddy scooter, and that was the start of my motorcycle journey. From there, it kind of progressed into motorcycles. It was kind of an interesting journey, one I think I'll save for another video, but that's basically how I learned. And so I learned by riding on the roads. All right, so we're going into Austin now, deep into the heart of Austin. You can see the Capitol from here. Okay, so he was also asking my thoughts, and I've never been on a dirt bike, so I can't really speak to actually being on a dirt bike. I have sat on dirt bikes, and I'm always disappointed a little bit because they're so tall for me, and I don't think that I would feel quite comfortable on one. So that was one of the biggest things about me learning to ride and becoming more comfortable with riding, is that I wanted to be able to feel like I had control over the bike. So if I were to start on a dirt bike, I think I would have a little bit of a problem because they're so tall, and because, I don't know, I'm guessing because the terrain would be a little bit uneven perhaps, or you're not riding on the road. So I think that my confidence wouldn't quite as, I don't think that it would have been where it needed to be to gain more confidence and to build that confidence. So for me, starting on roads on a street bike was the way to go. As far as the safe factor, yeah, it is dangerous riding on the road. I mean, there's no getting around it really, but I don't commute. I used to, but I don't anymore. And okay, well, I'm working from home now, but even if I did go to the office, I wouldn't be commuting on the bike. And my husband and I usually take the bikes out on the weekend in the early mornings, and so we're trying to avoid the crowds. So that's one way to go about it. We're kind of blessed because we live in a part of town that's right next to the hill country out here, and so it doesn't really, we don't have to drive through the city to oh, that was a scooter. Yes, I wave at scooters anyway. But we don't have to, you know, drive through the city to get out of the city and onto those less trafficked roads. I would say whatever kind of bike you feel comfortable on would be a deciding factor to me. That's going to make a difference. And then, you know, just, I guess if you're going to get a street bike, just kind of go out when it's less crowded, you know, not rush hour, things like that. I know that it's still, you can still get injured riding a dirt bike. I've known plenty of people, I've heard stories about breaking bones on dirt bikes, so it's, you know, you can't really escape risk on a bike. So I hope that answered your question, Ken. Okay, so Edward asks, he says that the Buell Lightning is his dream bike, and he is asking about parts availability. He's thinking that it's going to be kind of difficult to get parts because they don't make the bike anymore. So we've actually talked to the mechanic that we use for the Lightning. We've talked to them quite a bit about this, and he doesn't ever seem concerned about parts availability for the Lightning. In our experience, we haven't had any issue getting parts for the Lightning, and the Lightning actually has about 40,000 miles on it, so it's a high mileage bike. And we haven't really had any issues with things breaking down or wearing out that we've had problems getting parts for or replacing. So in our experience, hasn't been an issue. If it's your dream bike, I would say look for one that's in good condition, that's been treated well, and I don't know, yeah, I think it'll be okay. Part 2 of his question was, what is your favorite thing about the Lightning? And off the bat, I would say my favorite thing about the Lightning is that there is so much power in such a little package, and it's been hard, and it still is difficult for me to find a bike that I feel comfortable on, just because of my size, and a lot of the motorcycles I just feel like are a little bit too big for me, and I don't quite feel comfortable on them. So the Lightning is really small. We have the it's the Buell Lightning, it's the XB12SCG, which is actually the shortest Lightning that they made. So it doesn't only have a low seat height, but it's also very short front to back, has a short wheelbase, and it is just, I mean, it's just such a little bike for what it is, you know, how much power it has. And so that's something that I really like, is that it's just so little. It's the perfect size for me, and I enjoy being able to ride something with a little bit of oomph that isn't too heavy or too big. But there are a lot of other reasons why I like the Lightning, and one of those would be that it is a unique bike. It's a sports bike, and so it's not hard to tell that it is a sports bike. You know, you look at it, yep, sports bike. But it doesn't look the same as all the other sports bikes out there, you know? There's something very unique about it. The next question comes from Rebel Scum Jen, and she asks, how long did it take for you to be comfortable enough on the bike to go for long solo rides? And I'm going to be honest, I haven't really been on a long solo ride. I think maybe the longest I've been on has been like an hour long. So it's not like I'm going anywhere really far. But when I started riding, like I mentioned earlier, I started on a scooter. So yeah, it didn't take me very long to get comfortable riding the scooter on my own. I did use the scooter for commuting because I used to work somewhere where I could take back roads to get there. So it was doable. And I used to leave early in the morning. It was still dark. Sometimes I'd leave when it was a little bit like misting outside. And I was pretty comfortable being on the road with that right away. But where I had problems was when I was kind of getting used to shifting on a motorcycle. That took me quite a while. I did have a Honda CBR 250R for maybe 9 months or so, and I never quite felt comfortable on that bike shifting. So I never felt comfortable going anywhere on my own on that bike. And then I guess it all changed when I got this bike, the Suzuki TU, because it's just an easy shifter. It's small. I felt comfortable on it. So maybe about 2 months of owning So maybe about 2 months after owning the Suzuki is when I probably felt comfortable enough to go out on my own for like longish rides. And I got the Suzuki in maybe 2016, so by that point I had been on some sort of motorcycle or scooter, some sort of two-wheel thing I had been on for maybe 2 to 3 years by that point. I know it's not really a straightforward answer, but hopefully that kind of gives you some insight into that. Next question comes from Andrew, and he asks, if price was no option, what would be your dream bike? And dream bike is absolutely the right word for this, because I am 99% sure that I will never own this bike for a few reasons. One of them is that it is expensive. All right, I do want to say that we are passing over the Congress Bridge right now, and it is actually a bridge that is home to, I have no idea how many bats, maybe millions of bats. And it's really cool because during certain parts of the year, the bats will leave their home in the evenings to go find food, and it's really kind of a cool experience to see that. Okay, so continuing on with the dream bike question. So the reason that it's a dream bike is because it is pretty expensive. It's at least $40,000, but I think it goes up from there. The other reason is that I don't know if I'd actually be able to ever ride it because of its size. And then the main reason why I don't think that I will ever own this bike is because they only made 47 of them. So the dream bike is a Magpul Ronin motorcycle. I don't know if the first time I saw this bike was like in a picture or if the first time I saw it was in real life. But I remember the first time I saw it in real life, and I was instantly hooked. This thing looks amazing. It's like a cross between Batman and Mad Max. So basically, Buell was going out of business, and there was the Ronin Project. In the end, they ended up acquiring 47 1125 motorcycles, Buell motorcycles. That's basically what the Ronin motorcycle is built on. It's using the engine and the frame. So that's why I say I don't know if I'd actually be able to ever ride it, because my husband has the 1125 CR, and I still haven't tried to ride that thing yet. I'm kind of interested in actually trying it out in a parking lot. We'll see. So the next question is from, I could be saying this wrong, Kaizo Soups, but he says, can I have your TU? And I want to say, how much are you willing to pay for it? No, but he also asks, why do you keep your TU and why do you like it so much? And I will say that I have had thoughts of selling it, but the thing is, it's like, I don't really think that I would get much money for it. That's our friend. Sorry. That was our friend Greg. He has a Moto Guzzi, a V7 Stone. I think that's what it is. I've taken it around the block before. Pretty cool bike. Anyway, so why do I keep it to you? Oh yeah, I don't think that I'd really get that much money for it. I don't think I'd get as much money. It wouldn't be worth it, you know. I think I would regret selling it because they're hard to come by, but because it is a fun little bike. They're just classic, simple motorcycles. Something that I'm always drawn to is just basic stuff. Like if I were to get into some kind of accident in my car, like in my daily driver, I'd probably want to buy some kind of SUV from like the 90s, you know. Like I just like simple things, basic things, and that's something that I really like about this bike. And it's just really fun. I know that I can take it anywhere, not have a problem getting it in and out of a parking spot, moving it because it's so lightweight and so short. And that's one of my deals, is just being worried that I'm gonna take my motorcycle somewhere, like say take the Lightning somewhere, and then get kind of in a sticky situation and not be able to get out of it on my own. So that's something else. That's, whoa. What is that? Is that the car in front of us? I think that's the car in front of us. It has bass. Yeah. The car in front of us has bass. I thought something was wrong with my motorcycle. Last question is from As the Magpie Flies, and she asks, do you have any goals for moto camping on the Buell? And I don't. Reason being mostly is that, yeah, I don't really want to outfit the Lightning with saddlebags and, you know, all of that you would need. But that doesn't mean that I'm not interested in moto camping. My husband and I both really enjoy camping. It's something that we haven't done in the past like year and a half, but it's something that we've done quite a bit before. I grew up camping in some way or another, so it is something that I would be interested in doing. We actually have a lot of gear made for primitive camping, and so it's lightweight, it's compact, and you know, I think all of that, like cookware and the tent and sleeping bags and pads, like we have the camping gear. It's just a matter of having the bike. So if I ever did want to get into moto camping, I would maybe be interested in the Royal Enfield Himalayan. That bike is pretty awesome. I've never ridden one, but I've sat on it, and surprisingly I can fit on it. I feel like it would be manageable for me size wise, and it's a really great price. I think it's less than $5,000. And if you've ever watched Itchy Boots and her adventures, she had, I guess she still technically has it, but she rode a lot on her Himalayan, and she's been places that I would never go on a motorcycle. So I would feel confident knowing that the Himalayan could handle whatever it is that I want to do with it. So that would probably be my moto camping bike choice. I don't see that happening anytime in the near future, but it's something to work towards. I think it would be really fun. Okay, so that wraps it up for the questions. I want to say thank you for everyone who asked a question. I know I mentioned in my last video that I had this thought that no one was going to ask me anything, so you guys really pulled through for me. But I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone sticking around with me and watching my videos. I hope you like the little mini tour of downtown Austin. I never thought I'd be doing motovlogging a year ago, but here I am, and we've made it to 1,000 subscribers, and so that's all very awesome, and I have you guys to thank for it. So if you like what you see, if you want more from Joy on a Bike, there's plenty of videos that I still want to create for you. Then go ahead and hit that like button. and hit that subscribe button. I think my battery's about to be dead, so I'll go ahead and wrap things up. I will catch you next time. Bye.